Oh, hello there, and welcome to the Dagon Show. I'm your host, Dagon, and well, you see here, I'm running into a little bit of a problem. If you noticed, I haven't been posting much. Well, it's because I haven't really found much to do, and yeah, nothing much is really personally going well. I guess I'm just kind of slumping around, being lazy. So I'm going to try and go on a positive high and try to post more videos more often. So this is the first of that streak, I guess, of trying to post more often. Which is going to be another documentary episode. Woohoo! You guys seem to really like the last episode in the documentary series with over 100 views for Crystal Dagon and Draconis. This is going to be more into the evolution side of things, so be wary for that. Like an entire evolutionary line. I'm not joking. I'm I'm following in the footsteps of speculative evolution, but for my world, so it's more interesting. Anywho, now that we're at a stable distance where you can actually inhale the details of Dagon behind the blurry camera, which is always shit. I might need to get a better one eventually. But I'm gonna be trying new things for this documentary, like changing the color every time a new character just randomly comes on screen. Anywhere from dark red, which appears hellish, to purple, to white, to green, to teal, like the normal Hollow Earth colors, to the fucking, where is it? To the fucking piss chamber. Yes, you heard me correctly. The piss chamber. Behold, in it all of its urinated glory. God, that sounds wrong. But for the intro scenes, it'll always be a soft white, which in the camera appears blue for some fucking reason. Like, for example here, let me bring out a random character with bright colors, like Gigan. Say hi, Gigan. I'm gonna do a documentary on you later. But here's him in the Hollow Earth blue. Notice how the red is gone. It turned to black, and then here's it in white. You see the red is suddenly back, so that's how you could tell it's white. Anyways, he's gonna go back for later. He's gonna be featuring with other big bad. So within either this week or the couple following, I'll do a documentary, not only just for this fuck, but also Destroya, my version of Destroya, my version of Gigan, Bloodborne and the Mutants, and that's really it. So yeah. Sir Dagon. Yeah. What the Yeah, Meraxis? You forgot to mention that today's documentary is about me and my species and subspecies and whatever. Also, why are you making an intro that's 4 minutes long? This is like the longest intro yet. I don't know, Meraxis. Fuck off. Alrighty then. Anyways, on to the video. I'm probably just going to do the other documentaries directly after this. Also, one more note, I'm going to pick colors that match the coloration of the guys we're portraying at the time. Either to make them look more neon than they actually are, or just cooler in general. The first character we're going to cover in this evolutionary line is the origin of these mysterious creatures. Well, these are the Hollow Earth Megaraptorans. These guys appeared in the Hollow Earth around 480 something billion years ago and are very, very unique, being more intellectual and calculative about their moves, with long slashing claws instead of other dinosaurs who use their brute strength and sharp teeth, which makes them all the more interesting here in the Hollow Earth, who usually rely on brute strength and calculative decisions to do same things, but these guys are more careful with their actions. For the first couple thousand years of their introduction, they just grew bigger and more powerful to confiscate for their rude awakening in the Hollow Earth when, everything was more chaos. And they split off into 3 species, all of which are separate populations of Metriforax, specifically a part of the Megaraptoran clan, that went into different areas of the Hollow Earth and speculatively evolved into each specific category that I will use in a video eventually. Like a normal video, not documentary. Like they're not going to be documentary exclusive. You already know one of them well, and we're going to cover that one first. This one you guys probably know decently well. This is Meraxus, the one of the more important Hollow Earth residents of themselves because they are used more often. Just adjusting the color there. These guys, its entire species in general, are known as the Meraxus grandis, or the Grand Megaraptor of the plains. They are around a couple inches taller than your average Dagon and spread across the greater plains of the Hollow Earth in many unique areas. These guys are severely territorial to one another and do not like others of their kind in the same area. The Meraxus grandis are a unique species as well amongst their own kind, having the smallest claws compared to body size ratio for their entire species, which is very, very strange. They've enveloped on a similar fighting style as the Spinosaurus of the Hollow Earth, specifically known as Snook. Now, there's a problem with this. Because Snook the Spinosaurus, who already lives in the Hollow Earth, does a better job at this body plan than Megaraptorus grandis, their population was always a small populace to begin with. So it was very devastating when Ghidorah came around and wiped out all but a single member of every Hollow Earth residence, besides the Gojiras, because they were too powerful. Which all the Gojiras were later killed except for one by Destroya, but we'll cover that in their respected documentaries. For now, this is only reference to explain why they're small populace to begin with, and why it was very devastating when Ghidorah came through. And the Megaraptoran of the Grand Plains subclass, well, the only one alive today is, Meraxus, which was featured in a total of 2 videos. So you should know him at least decently if you watched the recent ones. Those 2 episodes being, and I quote respectively, the Hollow Earth residents go to the surface, and, oh wait, no, I might be hallucinating. That's the only one he was referenced in so far. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but that's like the only one I remember him being in. There might have been another one, I just forgot which one. But Meraxus's personality is very simple for a dinosaur. Meraxus never really liked fighting. He usually sits and talks, and only fights if he has to. If he had the option to, he'd probably be extremely lazy and just sleep. And if he's extremely bored, he'd just randomly look at the ground and expect small bugs, just out of boredom. He is also able to sit practically anywhere because he's able to use his tail as a seat. By sitting like this, essentially. If you watched the episode he was featured in, he exclaims how he specifically only likes soft food, like ice cream, mashed potatoes, and other soft foods similar to that, like applesauce. But Mario forced him to eat uh, goldfish. He really hates it, but he lied under the surface, saying that he likes it so Mario could get off his fucking back. When he went home, he ate thousands of pounds of applesauce to get the taste out of his mouth because he did not like the crunchiness. A random fun fact is that he glows partially neon under certain light conditions, like dark blue and dark purple. Under red light, his neon parts look very, very orange, whilst the rest of his body becomes black. Under green, the neon yellow parts of his body appear green. Here's how he looks under hollow earth lights, and here's how he looks in white. Not too much of a difference. Anyways, Dracorax... Dracoraxis is a species that's coming next on this list. Spoiler warning, spoiler warning. Anyways, that's all I have to say for, well, actually, there's a couple more. His closest friends are Arctic Claw and Dripto, and also recently made friends with Gummy Goo a couple months back. And during the episode, he debuts in. But that's only because they share some similar things in common, like not really taking a liking to the actions of the gods, usually wanting to be left alone, and obviously just wanting to leave, or something similar. Well, that's specifically how Meraxus feels, and he shares a little bit of that type of, feelings with the others. He has the most in common with Gummy Goo, specifically the way he just doesn't like the way the gods treat him. Like, if you know, basically. Meraxus, despite being more grumpy, also likes soft things like pillows and blankets. He specifically prefers during the winter seasons to roll down in the snow in the hollow earth, which comes extremely, extremely rarely because the hollow earth has a similar humidity to the average Floridian summer. So usually when it comes to soft things, he suffers immensely. Despite that, that's all I really have to say about him. Moving on. Some of those Megaraptors in the Hollow Earth went directly into the smaller parts of the caverns, developing into small pseudo-predators. This is the result of that. Meet Meraxus tavernus, the cave Megaraptor. Meraxus in Hollow Earth language, or Meraxidus in Hollow Earth language, which is partial English, partial mishmash of random Greek words and Latin and other bullshit, means Megaraptor. So yeah, Meraxidus in Hollow Earthian language means Megaraptor. So take that in for a second. Now, the cavern Megaraptor is a unique case. They are extremely short compared to their cousins, especially the one we're going to cover later, and are extremely vulnerable, more often becoming prey for much more bigger and dangerous animals than being predators themselves, losing the title of apex and just becoming, the average snack for a large individual, while still being decently large themselves. Hollow Earth Megaraptors have changed in various ways. Now, this guy's name is, well, Travis. Why Travis? Well, I just thought of cavern and caves and taverns and tried to think of a name that sounds similar or close enough to that. So Travis is his name. Travis likes watching sports. He prefers soccer. He likes cheesecake as his favorite food. Why cheesecake? Well, he has a joke for it, but it's too cheesy. He gets along with Pyro and Emerald Eye, but most often Pyro because they share similar interests. He absolutely hates crocodiles and alligators because that's the most common enemy that they have to face in the smaller taverns, which the crocodiles usually win the confrontation. But he absolutely hates them because he always loses against them. He also hates Cronus the Kronosaurus for the similar reason, and any other small to medium dinosaurs that are able to best him in combat that can reach into the smaller caverns of the Hollow Earth. But he does have one trump card. He's able to hang himself from the tops of the caverns with his long, prehensile, curled tail by wrapping his tail tightly around slightly loose edges that he's able to wrap his tail around, and any stalagmite on the ceiling of the smaller taverns, which act more like caves rather than actual Hollow Earth taverns. And when any unsuspecting prey would drop down underneath him, he would fall on top of them full force, dragging them down with his weight and snapping their spine before they could even react. He also has a very unique way of communicating feelings non-verbally. It's his tail. When he is neutral, it's curled up, specifically because he has no feelings at this time and usually curls it up to prepare it for when he has to climb onto the ceiling again. If it is straight, he is either shocked, confused, or is, trying to be very serious. When it is pointing upwards and looming over his head, like this, he is angry and offended and is trying to make himself look more intimidating or trying to slap you with his long fucking tail. If it is tucked away and leaning down, he feels ashamed, sad, and, fearful. Also, whatever the fuck you call this means confusion. Either that or he's extremely bamboozled or drunk. It's because he literally lives under a fucking rock, he does not know of the existence of either Dagon or Mario, which is my friend's god that we share universes with. If you watch my other videos, you've probably met him in some of them. He's literally featured in them. He usually doesn't have much to say and do, and kind of just chills out in his cave. He doesn't care to affair in the Hollow Earth politics and turbulations, and usually stays out of fights and wars, but will occasionally appear randomly for no fucking reason whatsoever. He's just kind of there. And he preferably likes to live alone. No one to talk to, no one to tell things about. He just lives alone, minds his own business, and stays out of everyone's way, which is, quite frankly, the best outcome you could ask for in a dinosaur on the Hollow Earth, because everyone is either on crack, a fucking psychopath like Draco, and fucking Buckshot, or you end up with something that is way too powerful, like Destroya or Dagon. Anyways, moving on to the next one. Meet the next species on our list, and the last species on our list, the Dracoraxidae. The Dracoraxidae maraxus, meaning the dragon megaraptor. When fully stanced up, Dagon looks like a teenager or young child compared to Dracoraxus, which is the name given to the last surviving member of this species. The way the Dracoraxidae came into existence was also very strange. It was basically a medium to large sized group of Megaraptorus grandis, or the Grand Plains claw species, which was Meraxus's group, found one of Dagon's hyper-radiation hotspots, which is a different version of radiation in the Hollow Earth that is super, super powerful. And they absorbed all of it, going under hyper-evolution, changing within around 3 generations to what they are today, and still constantly changing into a more powerful form. They are the third strongest mortal being that is below the gods, the strongest being Destroya and second strongest being King Ghidorah. They reached this power because, quite literally, they absorbed so much radiation that they are essentially powerhouses now. Before we continue on, there is only one species, one living member left of all the species mentioned in this video. I just forgot to mention it in the Tavern Claw section. Well, section, or whatever the fuck. Dracoraxidae, Dracoraxus, which is the name of the last living member of the species, knows of the existence of the gods, both Mario and Dagon, and usually try to stay out of their shenanigans and keep to himself. Usually avoiding confrontation by staying in isolated areas that nobody really visits. Similar to how Anguirus usually hides away after the experiment shenanigans he went through with Dagon, which was the same experiment line that created Bloodborne, which we'll cover later. Dracoraxus is a very, very unique specimen as well. Because their entire species absorbed so much radiation, their body is very, very pale, with cracks of yellow and parts that give away to lower levels of skin or harder skin that are used for more conflict reasons appear either dark blue or a crystal-like blue or extremely white blue, like for the claws and feet claws. Just like the other two Megaraptors, he usually doesn't really have that many friends. His friends being specifically Slasher and Snook the Spinosaurus. His claws are the longest out of all the Hollow Earth Megaraptorans, being extremely long, around the size of its entire face, which in and of itself is also very big. He has feathering on his head, arms, and back of his legs, and a long tail that ends in a tip. Dracoraxus is a omnivore, being more of a bear in terms of diet. But his favorites include s'mores, Old Man Barry's special Hollow Earth radioactive fish fillet, barbecued dinosaur ribs, and chrono sticks, being essentially their versions of fish sticks. He also likes French toast and I think it was eggnog Yeah, he likes eggnog because it tastes funny to him and he likes that. He lives alone in a small cave that he calls home, far away from all civilization, where he sits in that cave and listens to music 24/7. What type of music? No one really knows. He just listens to whatever he finds interesting. Well, then, that was interesting. Hope you guys enjoyed, and in the next documentary video, we'll be covering Destroya and Gigan.